This is probably the most endangered basin in the world.
Of biodiversity, even in a protected area.
It's an environmental disaster.
Biodiversity in the Mediterranean Sea has been seriously attacked and damaged.
Středozemní moře může symbolizovat mnoho věcí. Pro některé je to jen spousta slané vody. Pro někoho je to místo, které znamená dovolenou a odpočinek na pláži. Pro jiné je to zdroj obživy. Středozemní moře hraje důležitou roli již od dávného starověku a jeho význam neklesá ani po mnoha tisících let. Nyní ale čelí velké hrozbě. Jedná se o nejvíce rybářsky vytížené moře na světě a 8 z 10 druhů ryb je v něm loveno nadměrně. Proto zde působí mezinárodní nezisková organizace Sea Shepherd, která se zaměřuje na ochranu moří a oceánů. Ta pracuje na operaci Siso, kampani na ochranu vod v okolí Liparských ostrovů v jižním Tyrhénském moři. V rámci ní se zabývá nelegálním, nehlášeným a neregulovaným rybolovem, zejména pak lovem pomocí nelegálních sítí a lovem ryb pomocí rybích vábniček s celým názvem Fish Aggregating Devices. Zkráceně se jedná o tzv. FADy. Obě tyto nelegální praktiky ohrožují veškerý mořský život a přírodní bohatství této části Středozemního moře.
Fish aggregation devices, or FADs, are illegal in many areas. And here in the Tyrrhenian Sea, they're illegally put in the water to congregate fish around what's basically an artificial reef. An anchor is used that's lowered to the bottom of the ocean, sometimes up to 2 kilometers deep, and that's connected with a long line of synthetic rope which goes all the way to the surface. On the surface there are floats, usually made from 20-litre plastic drums, often ones that have chemical residue inside. And then there's a shade structure that will be made from palm fronds or floating plastic. And this attracts fish into the shade on the surface of the water. Small fish attract bigger fish. Bigger fish attract other marine life, such as turtles. And we've seen turtles entangled in the fish aggregation devices. It's illegal to have FADs in this area, and it's illegal to make FADs from material that will entangle and endanger marine life. We're on the bridge of Sea Eagle, and from up here on the bridge, this is, I like to think of it as the brain of the ship, where we're planning the campaign, deciding which area we're going to work in, and then we have a system where people are spotting the FADs. They can be quite difficult to see. They're just seeing the flotation devices on the surface of the water, and on a day like today when it's a little bit rough, they're really, really hard to see. So we're in area Charlie, just south of Stromboli, and looking for FADs, and hopefully when we find a FAD, we usually discover that they're laid in rows north-south, so it's quite easy. Once you find one, you can find more and more. It takes around about an hour or even up to 2 hours to recover a FAD, so once we've found one FAD, we know that we've got the day's work ahead of us.
Na vytahování nelegálních rybích vábniček pracovali od července až do října 2 lodě, Sea Eagle a Conrad. Jejich posádkám netrvalo dlouho, než nalezli první rybí vábničku sezóny.
So we found a new line of FADs, so it seems that the new season for putting FAD in the water is started today.
6 meters.
Point is that we want to take it from the other side.
Okay.
These are the first FAD of the season. The illegal fishermen put them in the water around the end of July, and from this moment the sea in the north side of Sicily will be full of this kind of illegal fishing gear.
Předpověď kapitánky byla správná. Problém nelegálního rybolovu byl větší, než se zprvu zdálo. Nejen, že nelegální FADy zanášejí moře plastem a chemikáliemi, ale ničí také mořské dno. Čím déle v moři jsou, tím rozmanitější život se kolem nich zhlukne. Celý tento ekosystém, nehledě na druh a velikost zvířat, pak končí v rybářské síti.
The fishermen collect the fish with nets. They simply goes around in a circle nearby the FADs where the fish are swimming in a round circle. So they catch everything in a net, they collect on board, and then they go to the market. When the fishermen collect fish in the flats illegally, then they go to the market in Sicily on land, and they simply sell the fish to anyone in the market, from restaurant to people to shops that then sell that fish in the black market. If you are a tourist and you buy from the local market in Sicily, the 40% of the fish that you buy are fished illegally. So 1 in 2 fish are fished illegally.
Hi, my name's Simon. I'm the bosun here on the Sea Eagle. We are the deck team. We are the ones who are responsible for doing the dog work, so to speak, of actually recovering the fads, the fish aggregating devices from the water, using tools such as this, and bringing them up onto the deck.
Bring this back here, and so sometimes there's like oily residue and stuff in them. So when you take off the lid to try and like compact it, just try and make sure that the opening side isn't down, because then that stuff will spill out.
K hlídkování v chráněné oblasti využívá organizace data z minulých let, shromažďuje informace od legálních rybářů a také spolupracuje s italskou pobřežní stráží a finanční policií.
Specifically for this area, what I have experienced is that the presence of Sea Shepherd, of course, has implemented the capability of reporting, and so information about the eventual presence of illegal fads or illegal drifting nets. It's of course a contribution for the daily institutional activities of the personnel of the Italian Coast Guard, and specifically for the Milazzo Harbour Master Office. And it's important because we have had the chance to deter and eliminate this problem, mainly regarding to the illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing.
Because they have a license to do trolling, but not in the prohibited area. So they declare us that they are going away. Now they are exactly inside the area, as I can see from the chart plotter, but they are turning out. They are right in the border.
So Conrad was inspecting suspected fishing boat that was trolling very close to a prohibited area. So we went close to this fishing boat, and we stayed there for a while, waiting for understanding what was going on. And so we called them on a VHF, and we tried to understand if they had some particular license, and they had not. So after our questions, they went far from the line. Other things that Conrad does for during all the season, it's inspecting the fishing gear to understand if they are legal or illegal.
Podle údajů Spojených národů množství nadměrného rybolovu v posledních několika letech kleslo. Přesto je ale nadměrně loveno stále okolo 75% druhů ryb, a to i navzdory tomu, že existuje řada zákonů a regulací.
The fishing aggregated devices are instruments that have been used since ancient time for the catch of lampugas. So currently the matter has been regulated by the European and Italian laws. They should have characteristics compatible with the environment, so they must be properly also reported pursuant to Article 8 of Regulation 404 on 2011. We have to underline that these tools can only be used only on board authorized fishing boats by the ministry. The fishing of lampugas can take place only in a specific period of the year, from the 15th of August to the 31st of December. In some area this period is a little bit small because of a specific regulation. So the answer regarding if they are all illegal is the FAD is allowed as to be considered legal if they do comply with the applicable rules. It means that a FAD can be considered not legal if it is used in area where is prohibited, is forbidden to fish, if they are posted in an area where they can pose a threat for the safety of navigation, if they are made of material not biodegradable, that means not compatible with the environment, and if they constitute a general threat for the safety and the security of navigation. So another aspect is that the FADs should be consist of material that do not catch not specific targeted fishes. It means that in case of a FAD is catching a not targeted fish, they are not in compliance with the rules.
The reality is that they use hundreds and hundreds of FADs made by plastic and polypropylenes anchored in the bottom line of the sea. This is completely not sustainable. This is completely illegal. So they make a lot of money, from 5,000 to 7,000 euro a day per boat.
Dalším typem nelegálních rybářských aktivit v Tyrhénském moři je lov s unášenými tenatovými sítěmi. Rybáři používají k tomuto lovu zakázaný typ sítě, který je nezákonný kvůli obrovskému množství vedlejšího úlovku. Oba druhy nelegálního, nehlášeného a neregulovaného rybolovu představují nebezpečí pro všechny mořské tvory, a to včetně velryb. Část operace Siso se proto zabývá i výzkumem kytovců.
Our particular mission is focusing on marine mammals, turtles and big pelagic fish like tuna and swordfish and sunfish, which are very affected by the illegal fisheries practice. I grew up in a little fishing community, and I was a fisherman, and I went fishing when I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old. And if you talk with the old fishermen who have most of the experience about the sea, they will tell you that there is nothing left, or there is very little left. Like the other oceans, most of the commercial species are in serious decline. Yeah, there is very little left. They were exploited. Most of the fishermen that I know, they are not fishing anymore, or they are the last generation. Their kids will not become fishermen because there is no hope on the job. Yeah. We didn't see any big deep diving whale. We saw a lot of dolphins, a lot of striped dolphins. We saw a lot of turtles, which are often killed by this kind of illegal fishery, and mostly we survey a lot of areas. We found quite a lot of fishing gear that shouldn't be there. A long liner, one boat probably sets 2,000 hooks. A lot of this nylon line all over the ocean. A lot of these buoys, they attach them to the long line. How long it takes to collect this? Well, if you are in a good spot, it takes very little. And we also found a lot of plastic garbage and polluting things that shouldn't be in the ocean, because they all kill marine mammals and fish. And also we noticed that there is, especially during this peak period of vacation time for Italians and Europeans in general, we found out that the traffic, the marine traffic between the main island and the islands and the mainland is just out of control. There is too many boats, there is definitely too much noise in the ocean, and so we think that's one of the reasons why the big animals are kind of avoiding this area right now.
Vorvaň je důležitým symbolem celé kampaně, protože celá operace vznikla na základě tragického příběhu mladého vorvaně jménem Siso.
Siso was this young sperm whale that unfortunately was entangled in an illegal drift net in the waters around Panarea in the Aeolian archipelago. He died and ended up drifting to the shore and ended up at the coast of Milazzo in an area right near the lighthouse. After his beaching, the biologist Carmelo Sgro went there and he opened up the stomach of this whale and found that it was full of plastic. So unfortunately this animal died due to a combination of two factors, which were the illegal fishing nets and the plastic that's now invading our seas.
Množství fadů, které posádky zvládly z moře vylovit, předčilo veškerá očekávání. Do konce září shromáždili dobrovolníci na palubě přes 150 rybích vábniček. Do konce října to bylo přes 250. Bílé pytle byly naplněné stovkami kilometrů vlasců a nespočtem plastových kanistrů a láhví. Díky možnosti recyklace Je zde ale naděje znovu proměnit plastový odpad v něco užitečného.
It's a very interesting challenge to understand how to turn waste into something that is more valuable for the society. And you see the pollution is in the sea. It's visible it's in front of our eyes every day. So somebody who work in the industry like me and has a lot of know-how of each step of the supply chain and the value chain obviously cannot leave it there and without thinking what to do. And it's waste in our time. It's the new gold. It's a very precious resources. We cannot leave it there in the ocean. We need to clean it first. We can really upcycle this waste into something very valuable and try to create a virtuous cycle for the planet. This Sea Shepherd collaboration works because I felt like they need I wanted to support them in different ways, and the first way was I designed garments that are very performing for the life outdoor and out there in the elements, in the sea, in the mountains. And I felt like I could give them some gear, some uniform for them to work better, first of all. And then from that idea, we figured out together that we could create a circular project. So this uniform must be sustainable, of course, and they can be done with the waste that we collect in the sea.
Well, I'm definitely conscious of more pollution in the seas in general, and I work globally, and there's no doubt that there is more marine pollution, and there's no doubt that in the last 30 years that has really increased a lot, and it's very disheartening in many ways to see that this is what humans are doing to this little blue planet, remembering that actually most of the world is covered by ocean, and it's not a rubbish dump where we can put our waste. It's a beautiful part of the world and a very important part of the functioning ecosystem of the planet, that it be cared for. And so it's not an area that we can disregard. It impacts on everybody's health all around the world. It doesn't matter where you live. Protecting the oceans and keeping the oceans clean is essential for a healthy planet. I think that the Mediterranean is like a microcosm for the rest of the environment, and it's a lens that we can look at the rest of the ocean, the state of the rest of the oceans through. And we do have a chance to protect the Mediterranean, but it will take a lot of international cooperation.
11 o'clock on short and medium today.
We are winning in some areas, like in the west part of Lipari. Last year we had hundreds and hundreds of FAD everywhere. This year there are 0 FAD in that area. So something is changing. Something it's changing in a good way for our seas, but also for the justice. And so we have to keep doing this hard work and staying here, asking more support from our supporters, because we need to stay here as long as possible to give a strong message: stop illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing in the Mediterranean Sea.